Good evening, everyone. World Cup over and nothing better to do? We have just the thing for you. Join us for another episode of Two Average Joes with your hosts from Lake Havasu, Arizona, Tony P., and from Long Beach, California, Joe Kelly. So grab your favorite beverage, kick back and relax. For the next hour, you might even learn a thing or two. So without further ado, Two Average Joes.
Well, Joe, as the Bible says, the Genesis is the beginning of the Bible. This is the beginning of the show. I know you're aware of these Bible facts that most people don't know. Now, I knew this one already. Okay. Jesus was not really born on December 25th.
That's correct.
There's no record of his birth year, either BC or AD, as it appears in Scripture.
Exactly. Some
have guessed it would be in April our time, but again, calendars were different, this and that. I think you'd mentioned this before. The Bible had been written by... It took over 1,500 years to write the Bible with approximately 40 separate authors.
Without internet or phones to communicate. Amazing, huh?
Right. Are you sure they couldn't take those and send them off like with bird, like a bird? Did they have bird carrier? Did they have delivery back then?
They did have carrier pigeons. All right, well, here, I've got a fact for you real quickly. A horse normally has more than 1 horsepower.
Well, now, hold on. Are you talking about like a live animal horse or an engine?
A real horse normally has more than 1 horsepower. What are they basing horsepower on? A study in 1993 showed that the maximum power a horse can produce is 18,000 watts, which is around like 24 horsepower. So 1 horsepower can produce 24 horsepower. Just thought that was an interesting fact there. So.
A horse is a horse, of course.
Oh. Wilbur.
Man, I love that show.
They're the best. Weren't they? Hogan's
He'd get
Heroes,
on the phone
that?
with his glasses and the pencil, and he'd be
talking like this. Yeah.
I can watch it all day.
I just think they were doing more drugs back then than they are now, or they had better weed or something, because they're like, dude, let's make a horse that talks. That'd be perfect.
Right.
It's probably Dobie Gillis figured that one out.
Probably wouldn't work anymore because it's not so dramatic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
but fast food. Couple fast food facts.
Okay.
Disturbing. And I used to like chicken McNuggets. I'll be honest. I was a chicken McNugget eater. I didn't think twice about it, right?
They were good years ago. Not anymore.
40 different ingredients.
Yeah.
And it says the average person can't even pronounce most of them.
Right. What you'll find is that you'll see some comparisons. Go online and say what I used to eat and what it's made of now. And you see Oreos has like 5 ingredients. Now it's a list of things you can't pronounce. I mean...
So you're telling me that I may have actually been eating a decent chicken nugget in the beginning?
Well, yeah. In the beginning, we actually had real food. It just got a lot more abbreviated and more infused with all the fructose corn syrup. And now, I mean, it used to be a normal hamburger bun. Now the hamburger bun has as much sugar as the coffee or something like that, sweetened coffee. It's pretty bad. But yeah, a lot of those things have changed.
Have you heard? I mean, I've heard on occasion that people have like said that, numerically, there isn't even enough cattle on the earth to produce like what McDonald's sells in a day worldwide. Now, I don't know, but you could look at it this way. As big as McDonald's is, there's a shit ton of other places selling burger too, right? Yeah. And other beef. So we know they're using fillers. Have to, right? You have to.
Unless you're paying more for it.
It can't be pure beef.
When you're buying beef, you're paying, like I buy from Omaha Steaks, and I like hamburgers, and so I have probably 80 frozen individual hamburgers in my freezer. Brisket, really? New York steak, filet mignon, beef ribs, ribeye, all these things. They take a piece of ribeye and they grind it up and make a hamburger. So I'm having a ribeye steak, but a burger. So it's one of those things. And my teeth, I'm getting old now. And so it's like I want to be as gentle as my teeth as I can. So instead of having a New York steak, I just have a New York steak burger. Instead of having a ribeyes I can have, they're soft. But yeah, I don't trust it. And when you were talking about, you use the Butcher Box, is that what you use?
I had, and then you know what? I sort of got away from it for a variety of reasons, but go ahead. Yeah, I did.
Well, those things make sense. Like I told my wife, she's like, well, I don't want to spend money at Costco for chicken. It's too expensive. I said, well, what do you think it's going to cost us to go out and get you a piece of chicken at a restaurant? I'd rather spend $4 for a piece of organic chicken breast that's here. I can butterfly it and make 2 pieces that you can have, chicken piccata, or if you want to cut it up for your salads or whatever. And so that's what I do.
You're not going out to eat for less than $40 or $50 for dinner.
No, it's unless you go to Outback. I mean, not Outback, but In-N-Out. I mean, my wife and I will get triples, animal style, and we'll get some well-done fries, and that alone is less than $20 or like for what we want.
You know what? I have to tell you, in the cost of everything going up in restaurants, and well, everything is more expensive. I am just blown away at the price point of In-N-Out.
It's well, that,
I mean, last time I went, I think it's like under six and a quarter still for a burger, maybe less. I don't know.
well, there's things that I think about because you and I both know that I call it the toilet paper roll syndrome. It's like it's the same size roll, but they just made it thinner, so there's less paper. There's doing that. You buy granola bars for we buy granola bars for the homeless people, and they're
Right.
smaller than they used to be. They're the same price, but they make them smaller. So that's how they're combating that. So I think that's what they're doing is that places are making the burgers smaller, and they're getting models with little tiny
Right.
hands when they're holding these burgers. Because no, I mean when we were young, we'd stand there at Burger King and watch them grill our burger on the flame broiler for us, and
Right.
boom, flip it over. What do you want on there? This, and this. Boom, it's done.
Well, to stay on the burger and fast food target, back when McDonald's used to try to promote, they were trying to do a third pound burger, right? They're just blowing it up. We got a third pound patty. More people still bought the quarter pounder because they thought it was a better deal. Mentally, the quarter pounder sounded bigger. People did not look at the equation.
Well, because most of the idiots fail mathematics and think a third is less than a half. It's like, or the third, they don't understand that a third is more than a quarter pound. They just don't get that. So, but
But
most of
you have to
the
admit, even just hearing it, quarter pound, one third pounder, the quarter pounder does have a better ring to it
yeah. Well,
verbally.
the burgers that I get, if they're not smash burgers from Omaha, they're 6 ounces. So that's like in between. It's between a half and a third. So it's so just a little bit heavier, which is nice for the burgers. I like that, and I use a hamburger
So
press and press it down.
pound 666 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, just shy of a of a third of a patty, or
Yeah.
pretty
It's
close. That's a
yeah.
good sized burger.
Yeah, it's perfect for me. Now they also have smash burgers, and I'll combine them and use one piece of cheese. But
But you
it's
eat
personal.
at least two. You eat a couple of them.
No, actually, I don't eat a whole lot of food. I mean, I just
Really?
don't. I eat one. Today I had a brisket burger, and
Right.
I had some Greek yogurt with some frozen blueberries in there, mixed it up with a little honey in there, and that's what I have
Right.
today for lunch. And that's
I would eat four of those and still be looking around for more.
hey,
That's
you
crazy.
you know what White Castle are, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, in
yeah.
Georgia, they have what's called Crystal with a K. It's the same thing. It's the same size
Right.
burger, and they consider it crap junk food. And I go down there, I'm like, I want a milkshake because they make real milkshakes and 10 crystals with cheese, please. I'll eat those fuckers before I even get home. My cousins are laughing at me like, you like those things, huh? I'm like, dude, this is my junk food. I haven't had
They
these in
are
years.
good.
They're the
They are
best. I
good.
mean,
I can't say they're good for you, but they are
no,
good.
no. Well, I mean, I do a lot of things that are bad for me. That's one thing I happen to enjoy. But okay, now we were on restaurant stuff. Here's an interesting one for you. It's a two-parter, a two-piecer. Abraham Lincoln was a champion wrestler, but not only a champion wrestler, he was a licensed bartender.
Really?
Eh?
Now, you wrestled.
Yes, I
Does
did.
that height, because normally when I think wrestler, it's normally a sort of a muscular, stocky guy, right? So does that length, is that scrawny, whatever he was, six something, give you an advantage just in sheer reach?
Well, if I showed you pictures of myself when I wrestled at my prime, I wasn't. I mean, I could bench some weight. I was about 250 when I was a junior in high school. I could bench, but I was more tall and lean, and I relied on my balance and also the fact that I could wrap around you like Ivy. And that's what I would do. Is I would most of my moves were leverage moves. I would somebody went and shot in on me. I could cover them like Ivy and get and do manipulate like jujitsu nowadays. That's why when I
Right.
did jujitsu, I was pretty good at because I understood wrestling. But so yeah, that's I think that height advantage can be. I mean, the guys that I've beaten that I remember one time we had to wrestle and you stand up, everybody's kind of basically naked, standing in the weigh up line, and you weigh whatever your is. And I'm looking at the guy next to me, little Sherman tank. I mean, he's built like a tank, and he's laughing at me because I'm tall and skinny. And my coach was hardcore. His name was Phil Costanza. He's an Italian roly poly guy, but he's like, if somebody gets a headlock on your a leg lock on your face, you bite him in the nuts. You hear me? I mean, it's like that was this kind of a thing. So he told me, he said, if you lose to this motherfucker, you're gonna be running until I get tired. You understand me? You're gonna beat this guy. I'm like, yes, sir. So went out there and we're rolling around. And he was strong, but he did not understand wrestling like I did. And he went and came around behind me, got points for a takedown, and he put a full Nelson on me. And I went, fuck it, ref. I mean, I just couldn't help it. And they took off a point, awarded a point to the team for my unsportsmanlike conduct because of my mouth. And I'm like, and my coach looked at me and he's like, now. He didn't care about the point. He goes, you just give me 6 for that. So I did a stupid thing. I was so charged with electricity. He was riding high because we start in the down position. He was on top of me, and I just reached back and grabbed his neck and brought him around, which he never reached back because if he was smart, he could have put me down. But I brought him over the edge, and I just wanted to choke him. And I'm holding right down there, and he's turning blue, basically. And the ref's going, let up, let up. I'm like, when he gives up, I'll let up. And I let up just a little bit, and he finally gave up, and I clapping in his face. And they took off another point for sportsmanlike conduct, or gave it. And my coach says, don't worry about it. We'll take those 4 points any day of the week. So it's like, I always wrestled guys that thought they could beat me. It's like, dude, I won the novice tournament. I was a freshman. I just damage.
So each match. So you're in a tournament,
right? Well, this was
each match X amount of points. What's the max in one round? Like you and someone.
You get, I think it's 6 points for a pin, and it's 3 points for decision, and so that's the way it works. So I don't remember. It's been so long since I wrestled that way.
So tournament's different. If you don't pin the person, then at some point it's going to come to is there judges, or is it up to the referee?
It's points.
To determine?
It's points. Because there was a guy that when I went to wrestle for the first time at this new school in New York, the kid that was in my place that I was going to beat, he was laughing at me. He was a barroom brawler, but I kicked his ass in wrestling. He didn't understand wrestling, and I beat him like, I don't know, 14-5. And the only reason he got 5 points is I let him up so I could take him down again because he brought 2 girls into the wrestling room. I'm like, I'm going to shellac you in front of these girls for being such a smart ass. And my coach made me run 10 miles for not pinning him in 2 seconds. You go run, man. You don't ever let that happen. But it's like you get guys all the time to think that they can do those kinds of things, but it's like, nah. I had to do a lot of running because I got in trouble a lot, But hey, I was a smart ass, good wrestler.
Right, but I laugh because it's so refreshing to hear when people explain back at some point in their life when there was consequences for their actions, and that lacks now.
Yeah, it does. It does.
That lacks. I mean, doing something didn't mean you were a bad person. That's the whole thing. What they try to think is if someone commits a crime or something like that, like we're assuming, they're a bad person. No, but they committed a crime.
Right.
You can't just erase the facts because, maybe in every other way, the person's a good person, Well, it doesn't matter.
Here's a small example of that. It's like I come from the school that if I'm going out with some friends to toilet paper someone's house and I get caught, then I got to clean it up. If you're busted, you got to clean it up. So I heard something outside, and these kids were, because my daughter was beautiful, and these guys, let's go hit Miranda's house. And so all this crap's all over our lawn, and I see them leaving, going, hey, Adrian, I know that's you. And they take off running. It was a friend of ours, I used to grow with this guy.
Right.
So this is way years before. He's still in 5th or 6th grade. And I go up to his door, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I knock on the door, and his mom answers the door. I said, hey, yeah. Adrian's right there in the window. He just toilet papered my lawn. I caught him. Now he's got to go clean it up. And she's like, well, you didn't see him do it. And I'm like, oh, is that the way we're going to play this game? Okay, You have a nice evening. And I went home and I said, girls, I'm going to go to Costco and I'm buying a case of toilet paper and I'm going to teach you how to do this right. So the next weekend I sat down with a whiteboard. I go, okay, there's no noise. It's just you perform. Your job is to roll this out on the lawn, and your job is to take a sprinkler and sprinkle the top.
Did they have some ninja gear? Did you get them? Were they in black camouflage?
So anyway, the night comes and they got their plans. I go, nobody talks, nobody looks at each other. You've got your assignment. So got one person over the trees, one person on the lawn, the other person's got a watering can, watering the lawn. It's getting that toilet paper stuck to the grass real nicely, all over the car, into the wheels and everything. And so the next morning, I had a cup of coffee that lasted 3 hours. The reason is because I stood there with my cup of coffee waiting for her to come outside, and then I went on the porch and I went, hey, what happened? Who did that? It's a good thing you didn't catch him. Ooh. So it's like paybacks are a bitch, man. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
So
just kids having fun.
Well, that's all it was. And there's a saying that I always use. It says, Nemo me impune lacasset, which is from the Cask of Amontillado. It means no one me without peril provoke, which means don't screw with me, okay? Because you're going to get the horns, So, anywho. All right, we got some questions.
Wait, what movie was that?
That was the
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. Love that movie.
What a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I tell you what, that guy played as good as everyone else was. He was spot on.
That was wonderful.
The gym coach, the football coach, whatever. No scholastic ability to teach them anything, right? Uh,
Exactly.
I caught him on the toilet taking
That
a
was
crap.
funny.
Okay,
Okay.
you first.
As a child, this kind of reflects on what we were talking about earlier. As a child, what rules were made to be broken? As a child, what rules were made to be broken?
Well, and I just think of my younger years, pre-junior high, maybe the early part of junior high or whatever. And I don't know. I mean, it wasn't that I'm a bad person. It wasn't that I wasn't brought up with don't do it, but it's shenanigans. You're always trying something different. I remember going into model homes and going through and messing them up and messing up the pillows, stupid kid stuff. Like the people talk about this thing where kids are going up and like banging, kicking their front door. Well, we should do the knock. We should do the light the poop on fire, whistle rockets in the gutter. I'm from the Midwest, right? You had gutters.
Right, right.
We'd light a whistle rocket up, so all the way up into the gutter, right? You can hear
the
that.
house.
The cherry bombs and throwing snowballs at cars. These are destructive things. And nowadays kids get caught doing it and they make them act like they're fucking Charles Manson, right?
Right.
Well, Johnny threw a snowball at a car and it went off the road. Well, yeah, you know what? That could have happened when I did it too. Or I could have got caught and the person could have beat my ass.
Right, right.
Consequence.
Well, what we used to do is we went and got a couple of pieces of nice surgical tubing at the Army Navy surplus, and we got a really big funnel, and we punched 2 holes in it and tied the elastic to both sides and made handles, and we'd get water balloons. And so at nighttime, we'd see a car coming, and we'd get on both sides of the street, and somebody in the middle would get there and release it, and we'd take pot shots at cars with water balls, launch them. Or we would take my friend's mom had a bunch of wigs. So we took one of those styrofoam heads and we filled clothes with toilet paper to make a body. And then we put it on a bicycle. And then when somebody's coming down the streets, we'd run into the street and let it just drop. And people would go, "Oh my God," they stop. And
right.
that was not very cool, but that was.
Listen, you'll understand this. I joke with people all the time. I am the operator of a mobile home park, and we don't have a lot of kids or teens, but we have a few. But nowadays, because of this, you never see them.
Right.
They never come out of the house. And as an operator, I've never been so thankful because I think to myself, if I lived in this park 3 weeks at that age, right, I'd be up fucking with the pool. I'd be, right?
Exactly.
I'd be up and down the street on my bike doing skids and kicking up dirt, and I'm like, thank God for Apple phones.
Well, this guy on the corner, they had those round posts, wooden posts about this big, and they're painted green, and there were different levels and border around his yard. And we took an M80 under one of them and lit it. Thing went up about 35 feet in the air.
Yeah.
But see, we didn't understand that it also shattered every sprinkler pipe in that entire ground out there. So he had to replace his entire sprinklers. And we're just going, "What happened? Who did that? Oh my gosh, what was that?"
Dude, I remember we were through. People had aluminum siding back then, right?
Right. Uh-huh.
So there was this newer house, and we were just throwing these rocks at the aluminum siding just to hear them ting, right? Ting, ting. And I threw one and it hit the window and busted it. So we get on the bike, right? And we take off. And I remember even running, I hid in someone's, like a garage door was open, right? So I ducked into the garage and hid in the garage, think the person look for me. Finally, I get home. We're having dinner. I think I'm in the clear.
No.
The door. Hey, your son broke my window. Dude, I don't even remember all the details. I'd be surprised if I didn't piss my seat right then. But yeah, got totally busted.
Well, the one thing I found is that I found out through my uncles and my grandmother over a period of time, the things that my dad was involved with that were a little bit shady. And so I figured, I can do almost as much, at least to that level, and he can't get upset with me. So I would do something of a similar flavor or vein, and he'd say, "Hey, what about that?" I go, "Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't it?" He goes, "Don't you do that?"
We're responsible for having to tone it down each generation. I don't know.
I don't think so. It's like, no, I'm gonna balls to the walls. I'm gonna go have fun with it. No, I made a point. It's like I always say. It's like I wasn't the class clown. I was the class comic. The class clown is a guy that ran naked across the quad. The class comic got him to do it. So I never really got in trouble. I instigated things and they happened, and I walked away going, "What happened here? What's going on?"
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, he needs a little sun.
Well, the funny thing was we used to go to these backyard parties, and everybody be back there smoking weed and drinking beer, and we're all 16, 17 years old. Woo! too. The cops show up in the front. People are freaking out. Me, I'm just jumping over the back fence into the next neighborhood, coming around and going, "Hey, what's going on here?" It's like, take the
Right.
joint out of your hand, young man. I mean, one of my friends go, "There's a cop right there. Where? Behind you." And he goes like this with a joint right behind his back. I'm like, "Well, he's taking your joint from you, stupid." So it's like I just
Well,
listened, paid attention, and didn't get in trouble like other people did because I was quick and crafty.
I think I could probably guess the direction of your answer here, but let's hear it with your explanation.
Okay.
Should individuals have the right to choose their own end of life options, including euthanasia?
I would say no. I would say no. I mean, to
I
me,
knew it. Tell me why.
well, the thing is that you never know. I mean, I would hate to do something and the next day they come up with some kind of, hey, we could have prolonged him if he just waited a little bit longer. The thing is, I believe that it's ordained for you. You're the time you live, the time you die. And I mean, I used to try to bring that on sooner by doing crazy things when I was younger, but now I'm more in the preservation of my years as I've got very few of them left. But I just don't think, I mean, the one thing that Sue and I have talked about, if we ever were on a machine, we both we'll edit this out, but we'll probably trip over each other's cord. I mean, we're not gonna let each other die that way. It's just not
Right.
go up to Oregon or something. I don't know, but I just don't want my wife to die painfully. If she wants to end it and go experience paradise faster, I mean, honestly, I think that we should be allowed to. Like, I'm dealing with that right now. My dog is not doing well, and I went to the vet, and I haven't been in about 3 years, and the last vet told me, well, there's not much I can do for her now. And as she's looking at her,
Right.
telling me these things, she's like, well, I'd like to do some tests if I could. And what it said to me is like, there's something wrong with her, because if a vet wants to take a look at some test results, it's not just to make money off the tests. I guarantee you that. So I'm preparing myself for what inevitably may be. And it's like I told Sue, I said, you know what? If she's bad off, but she doesn't act like it, then she's going to go on a good day. I'm going to take her to get some McDonald's, and maybe not McDonald's. We'll go get some Nations or In-N-Out burgers because those are good. We'll get In-N-Out burgers and chocolate
Right.
ice cream, and she can have that as we go down to the vet to say goodbye. But it's like that's the only time that you should have that choice. I don't think we should play God with those choices. I just don't.
When you get your dog in and out, is it animal style or by proxy, or do you have to order it?
I always like animal style myself. I'm sorry, I'm just quite at the animal. So
Oh no, me too. No, me too. I haven't tried it with the fries yet. Have you done the animal style
yeah,
fries?
don't I like it when I do it at home because sometimes I'll bring the fries home and fries have a tendency when they're made that fresh to be a little soggy. So
Yeah, they don't hold.
I toss them in the air fryer for about 2 minutes and they're perfect. But then
Oh,
what I'll
nice.
do is I'll take a piece grated cheese and put it on top because if they only use one slice of American, so you get one. It's like that you get that one chip that's got everything detached to it when you're having nachos. It's
Right.
like that the cheese needs to be broken up a little bit more, but it's all in one piece. But I do like that a lot. It's really good.
Well, I'm going to answer my question to you sort of twofold. Does an individual have the right? Well, I think just by the sheer fact that we have free will, you have the right. Now, depending on your beliefs, is it acceptable? Most likely not in some cases.
Right,
So I guess that's up to you to sort of balance that.
right.
And I understand sometimes the pain for some people is just extremely unbearable. I can't even imagine. So I could see why that would be like, hey, not only do I not want to go through this, but I don't want to put my family through this type of thing, right? It's not always
Yeah,
completely selfish. Sometimes it's like, I don't want these people are interrupting their life to watch me die.
right.
That's not how I want to be remembered. So I think there's a lot to go into it. So yeah, you have the choice, just like anything. I think I have the choice right now to go grab a Nazi flag and strip down and run down the street with an AK-47 shouting Cinderella for president.
Right. Probably
That
not the
doesn't
smart thing to
mean
do.
that doesn't mean that's the appropriate thing to do.
Right, right.
So depending on your beliefs. But I did want to hit you with another little
Please do.
interesting fact. We talked about some of the burgers, right?
Right.
Burger King, they say some of that smoky flame, fresh flame broiled is from the liquid smoke. You probably already
Yeah,
knew that.
yeah.
But in Japan, they once sold a Whopper scented perfume.
Wow.
So let me ask you. So you're out on a date, right? Let's say you're blind date. I know you're married, so it's hard to put yourself in that situation. But you go out and the girl and you notice the perfume and it's Whopper. Would you think weird? Would you be opposed? Or I mean, I'd be like, that's sort of cool.
She'd have to be really attractive. It's like that's pretty. I mean, if you've got money, that would be eccentric. If you don't have money, that's just freaking weird. I'm sorry, that's just
No,
weird. You got money. It's like, I smell like burgers. It's like,
I
okay,
don't know. I
whatever.
mean, it's still a good aroma, you know. It's like you could have a whole like carne asada.
One of my daughter's boyfriends, when she was like 18, he was hanging out at our house a lot, and he was a phenomenal guitarist, but a little too much weed. He was like, Beavis and Butthead kind of, and he goes, Kelly, I got the greatest idea for an air freshener for the car. Real, like, dank indica or cess, that beautiful smell you smell. I'm like, yeah,
Right,
that's going to go over really well when you get pulled over for a broken
right.
taillight, you dumbass. It's like, I didn't think about that. Well, it was a good idea.
Yeah,
Put it in your
yeah.
room then so your parents get pissed at you.
Or
So,
it might work in your favor. It would be like, hey, officer, it's my air freshener here. Check it out. I got a couple unopened if you'd like one too.
but actually, when I used to grow, I had a lot of weed in my car, well up to 2 ounces in my car, and I've got pulled over a couple of times, and I said, just want to let you know, here's my license. I do have 2 ounces of weed in my trunk, and they say, okay. There was never even an argument because it smelled like a Christmas tree in my car. It's like, smells good, huh? Come over,
And
we'll have some later.
nowadays that's like the least of a cop in California's problems, right?
Yeah,
Southern
yeah.
Cal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It was funny. There's a place called the Circle, and it's like the shop. It's right now the Traffic Circle in Long Beach,
Yeah.
and they are the premier place to get weed. And a friend of mine, he's about 84 now, and he had a triple bypass years ago. And I would go up to his house at 9 o'clock in the morning and walk with him till 10:30 and hang out with him and get some exercise. And I always stop by the shop on my way to get my stuff on the way home. Well, one day I didn't have time, and I thought I'll go back later when had time, and it was like 5 minutes to 12. And I go in there and I go in there and start looking at stuff. All of a sudden, and these metal doors go up and these lights go on, and there's this forest of beautiful buds with, I mean, colas as big as my hand. And I just thought, if there was ever a time for a nuclear holocaust, it would be right now. I want to be
Right.
left here. And I said, this is amazing. He goes, oh, that's only half of it. We got a private reserve in the back growing. So that was one of the most amazing things I ever saw. I was like, so beautiful, all that beautiful weed. It's different in
And by doing
California.
it inside, they can completely eliminate anything to worry about in regard to like pests or
Well, that's the thing you
insects
do.
or
It's controlled. When I grew, I had like a 10 by 10 box, and I grew a pound of weed at a time in there with a 1,000-watt bulb light. And that way I can control what was happening to my plants. And that's what you want. You want the control. I mean, to the point where you smoke weed sometimes and it's harsh. It's because those idiots, they just cut it when it's ready to go. They don't wait until at nighttime when all the sugar comes out of the leaves and goes down into the roots, where it does the same thing our bodies does, rebuild. Then you cut it off. All the sugar's down there. You now have smooth weed. I had some of the best weed because I spent a lot of time. I didn't know what I was doing, but I thought, you know what? I'll just stand on the shoulders of greatness. And I went down to a hydro store for like 3 sessions of like 5 hours at a time, listening to what people were saying, looking at what they were buying, right, making notes until I had dialed in. And in fact, to this day, still, my daughter's friends see me, dude, are you going to grow again? I'm like, no, man, I'm married and I've got a family going on, and I don't want to have my grow box with my futon right next to it, because that's what I did. I slept down there and
with your grandkids.
slept with my girls, so to speak, my female plants. But that's just a part of my past. It was fun. Had a good time doing it. Okay, a question for you. If you could go back to school to study anything, what would you choose? Anything. I know your
Well,
skill set, so.
I would probably have to go with what, as a youth and early teen, I thought that I would do and wanted to do, and that would be law.
Nice, nice.
You know, and there's so many avenues that law takes, right? So
Yeah.
so you have a lot of options. It's not like all Kramer versus Kramer. You know, there's a lot of corporate laws, contract law, and stuff like that.
But there was a kid that worked for me when I was at Brea Outback, one of the waiters, and he was a law student. And Jason he was a beast of a guy. It was a MMA guy. I go, a lawyer, huh? He goes, yeah. I go, what do you want to do with that? He goes, I'm going to legally represent fighters. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to represent
smart.
fighters. So he just knew,
Right.
it's like, I need to know contract law. So that's what I'm specializing in. So there's some cool
Right.
avenues for that.
Yeah, I think when you have a target like that, well, even some of those attorneys that only they handle motorcycle accidents,
Right,
'cause
right.
there is a uniqueness to it compared to a car.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I wouldn't be an ambulance chaser like that. I have no respect for those guys. Fuck you, ambulance chasers. You know what I'm talking about. There was
I've dealt
guys
with a
used to
couple of
stand
those.
out in the parking lot in Black Angus waiting for the cooks to leave. Hey, anybody fall or anything happen lately?
Right, right. Yeah.
It's like, get the fuck off the property, you
Yeah.
cocksucker.
Leeches, just big leeches,
Right,
man.
right.
I
That's
think,
one of the things that
well, it's like, if with I think with that kind of situation is you just have to develop some thick skin, especially in LA, because people, I mean, even when our daughter died, the lawyer called us. See, it was, I forgot I forgot what his name was, but he's well known on billboards and stuff. And he wanted to represent us. I'm like, for what? I mean, she died. It was an accident. And we're not going to cause this guy grief for the rest of his life because he accidentally hit our daughter. It's like, no, I'm not going to pursue this. That's terrible. In fact, they listed it as suicide, which I'm glad they did because it really wasn't. But and I told Sue, I said, that's ordained to do it that way. She goes, how do you figure? I said, if they had not listed this as a suicide, then he'd be blamed for this. So he'd have to carry the guilt of that for the rest of his life. Now, if they said, no, this girl committed suicide, there's nothing he could do about it, he doesn't have to feel guilt for the rest of his life. And so I told my wife, I said, that's a blessing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't change anything. We know that she.
No, you're right. It doesn't. It doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. It's because you know the difference. And
well, she was high, and
it's very gracious to save somebody that kind of.
Well, but she was high. They found all kinds of drugs in her system, and she was probably trying to reach out to get a ride and didn't understand the distance between her and the car and walked right into it. I mean, I don't think because if she was the kind of girl, if she was going to do herself in, she would jump head first off a bridge and done it right. No, she wouldn't go out there and wait for it to happen. So it was an accident. But I told Sue, I said, leave it alone, let it go. This guy can have some peace now. So that's, I don't like ambulance chasers either. And what, on a different note, on the same note, if I could go back to school and study anything, believe it or not, it would be Spanish. I want to learn everything about Spanish that I can. I mean, I'm getting really good at it. I'm getting better at my words and my sentences. I'm talking with people regularly now. I've been taking lessons for about 226 days, I think is straight I've been doing it.
Well, so. I had my call that remember last show, I said, well, it looks like it's down to Spain and France because I just figured the winner of that game would end up winning.
Didn't I say Argentina? Look back at our tapes. I said
you
Argentina
did say Argentina
was going to go.
Too.
Yeah.
But then Spain pulled it off.
Well, the thing is
that was 0-0 all the way, well, right? And then I remember you saying how they're so defensive.
I'm an average Joe like you are. So when it comes to the rules of soccer, I don't know head for tails. So I'm watching my Braves game. The Braves game ends, and there's about 5 minutes left in the final period before they get to overtime. Yeah. So I thought, I'm going to watch this. And for the 5 minutes plus the rest of it I watched, I thought, Spain, they're amazing ball handlers. These guys are beasts. They should have 25 points by now. The way that, you look at it was lopsided. It was probably, Argentina had it for 10% of the time, 9% of the time.
No shit. I didn't get to see it.
I don't know if it was that bad, but it was lopsided, man. And it's like, and Messi didn't take too many shots on goal. He set up a couple people at times because that's his thing, to go to the side and set it to the middle and let somebody hit it in. Didn't manage to happen, but I think that the only thing they could do was resort to like aggressive physical playing. And I thought that was really tactless to do. It's like, because that Spain team, they were so agile and so beautiful on their feet, man. I was like, they deserved to be there. They really did. But
well, I'm glad it was good. I'm glad it turned out nice.
Okay.
So should the pursuit of knowledge have moral boundaries, especially in sensitive fields like cloning and artificial intelligence development, which we're certainly beyond the brink of one and possibly the brink of another. Cloning isn't already going on, I'd be surprised. I always thought that that's why they wanted all that DNA. People are like, oh, what do you care if they have your DNA? Well, because I think with someone's DNA, they could replicate an AI figure, correct? I mean, they could basically duplicate you. Don't you think in time?
Well, that's funny you say that because I was just showing Sue my favorite episode of The Big Bang Theory. I love that show because it's like geekdom, and the blonde waitress, Penny, she works at Cheesecake Factory. So Sheldon is the super brain that's Leonard's roommate, and so he goes to Bed Bath & Beyond and buys like 15 baskets of different sizes. And he goes, now I've solved this problem. Whatever size gift she gives me, I'm going to say, I'm having a little problem in my stomach. I'll be right back. And I'll go in, I'll grab the appropriate basket to give her for the gift she's given me. And so she comes over and, she gives Leonard a gift, and he comes back out there and she gives him this box, says happy birthday. And he opens it up and he goes, it's a napkin. She goes, no, turn it over. And he stops and says, live long and prosper, Sheldon, Leonard Nimoy. And he's like freaking out. And she goes, yeah, he came to the restaurant. He goes, don't you understand? I possess the DNA of Leonard Nimoy on this napkin of his. All I need is a healthy ovum and I can make a Leonard Nimoy. And she says, hey, I'm just supplying the napkin. Nothing else for you there.
Right.
But
right.
that they just mentioned that. I thought that was kind of funny because hey, you remember Boys from Brazil? They cloned Hitler. That's what they were saying. The Boys from Brazil were clones of Hitler. So they were talking
Well,
about cloning
and
back even back
isn't it
then.
weird that the what's that one company that owns like fucking 70% of the world? Blackwell
Blackthorn,
or Blackstone,
Blackthorn or Blackstone or something like
Blackstone,
Blackthorn.
yeah,
Yeah,
something like that. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
dark evil
Uh,
black something. Yeah, guys.
that's pretty much that's the tagline. But anyways, I'm under the understanding that they purchased up, Ancestry.com and Me123 or whatever all those ones are where you can find out your background, your gene background.
They
Uh,
bought up most of Las Vegas, Nevada's residential areas too.
Yeah, and I was hoping that, and I think that is still going through if it hasn't already. I know Trump was proposing something, and then I thought it went through the Senate. I'm not really sure, but they were starting to put the clamp on the
Yeah,
percentage of ownership. And
yeah.
they should.
They just did
That
that.
is
They just went through. I don't know if it was passed, but it just was submitted to Congress. I know that for a fact.
now if they already own a fucking buttload, that would be grandfathered? They wouldn't have to sell those, right? You think it
I
would
don't
just be
know.
moving forward?
I don't know.
Sure,
Well,
would be
look. Well,
great if they had to liquidate and get things. Yeah,
so I mean, that could something like no, you have to sell it off. So they'll just sell it to a shell corporation of theirs, and they'll still own it. I mean, there's
right.
not much you can do about that. But I agree with you. It's like you're giving these people too much control, and it's going to turn out to be like Potter's Field from It's a Wonderful Life, where you're going to only be able to live in that crappy neighborhood over there, and everybody's playing,
Right.
ghetto wages. That'll be after we're dead and gone, though. I think so. I don't want to say I'm not as concerned about it, but I see that less happening than not. So anywho.
There's actually one city that Burger King can't go in, and it's Mattoon, Illinois, because of a trademark lawsuit. So obviously, before Burger King became Burger King, some dude probably had that name, right?
That's right.
And another thing, since I'm on this fascination with burgers and fast food, you know how they talk about like McDonald's burger, like some people keep it for extended amounts of time, right? Like
Seen them,
years,
yeah.
right? They
Pull out of
open
a
it up,
box and
fucking nothing wrong with it, right?
mustard's still fine.
And it didn't go over well. The Burger King thought it'd be a great idea, so they ran a whole commercial showing how the Whopper molds. Now, you and I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
We'd be like,
exactly.
"Fuck yeah, okay, I'm in."
Natural stuff. I like that.
But yeah, that is sort of funny. That's what you're advertising, a big green burger. Well, actually, it said if you eat too many Whoppers, it turns your poop green. Also,
Really?
I don't eat that many. I enjoy a Whopper once a year, once every couple of years. I'd like that smoky taste. I know it's not all coming. Flames aren't shooting up all over the fucking place. I know it's a controlled cooking environment, but I like that flavor. I'll admit it. And I like this. And I like the sesame seed bun. I
Well,
like the
see,
seeds.
I, on the other hand, I won't frequent any of those restaurants anymore. It upsets me the kind of crap. I mean, I used to be a Carl's Jr. The $6 burger that was
Right.
amazing. In fact, I had a $6 Wagyu burger when I got this tattoo. I had
Right.
I got this at the Hart and Huntington tattoo parlor that used to be in the Palms, and I won like $1,100 waiting to get my tattoo, so everything was paid for.
Right.
And so I said, I want to get a burger. He goes, why don't you get the $6 Wagyu burger at Carl's Jr. in the casino? I said, really, a $6 Wagyu burger? How much is it? He goes, well, it's $110. I'm like, I'm in. I'm buying it. So I go, what's the upside? He goes, well, it's made with real Wagyu. I know, actually, it was Kobe. At the time, it was Kobe. It wasn't even Wagyu. It was Kobe from Japan. So this
Right.
burger, and it came with a big basket of fries and a double shake. But I did have that, so it was pretty flippin' amazing. But so just I will splurge if it doesn't cost me anything out of my pocket. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like anything. You and I know we know when we eat certain foods, it's bad for us, or like you said, you just don't eat them at all. I do. I certainly curtail it. It's not definitely any main part of my diet, but yeah, I mean, shit. I mean, sometimes a good greasy burger tastes fantastic.
See, I
So,
love the
I don't
burger
know.
thing.
Sometimes you can't replicate that at home. You know what I need? I need a flat top. Do you have a flat top?
Well, I don't really cook on the grill steaks. I mean burgers that much. I cook them on a flat grill or a cast iron skillet. Now, the one thing
Yeah.
that I will recommend that I do a lot with if I want to have a smoky taste, I just have wood chips and I'll put them in a little a pie tray, light them on fire, put a little grill on top of that, and put a top over it. Because I took a pie tray with a handle for a drawer, to use as a
Yeah.
steamer, and that's what I use. And so I'll put it on there. So it only takes about maybe 3 or 4 minutes for that stuff to smoke to get into the meat that's raw
Right.
anyway. And then I cook it on the grill. Or I take a third of a cup of olive oil and mix it with 2 tablespoons of liquid smoke and just brush it on there. I'll do the same thing because it's just liquid smoke. It's not a whole bunch of chemicals. So it's
Yeah, so
carcinogens.
that was my next question. Is that a okay thing? It's not like, it doesn't have a wrap like MSG or
No, none of that stuff in there, but it's a carcinogen because it's smoke. So you're going to be dealing with that. But hey, I used to smoke cigarettes. These are things we have to
and
deal
then
with.
and the amount is so small. And I
Right.
also read that recently too, in regards to like MSG, that the amount of MSG that was in these certain foods, like you would have to be eating so much of it. I mean, look at the Asians are some of the healthiest people in the
Well,
world,
Black
and they've been
Angus
using it forever.
in Black Angus, we didn't tear the lettuce. We chopped it, and you threw it in the sinks with that Vegafresh, which was straight MSG, and washed that stuff up, and it would last for 2 weeks in the walk-in with no cut marks on it, no brown marks. So I mean,
Really?
I don't
Right.
really think it's a big deal. I mean, I think people make too much. Well, it's like saccharin; it's bad for you. Well, they gave it like enough to kill an elephant to a rat. I mean, of course, it's going
Right.
to have extreme measures.
Right.
So, I don't really care about those kinds of things, and I don't drink saccharin anyway. But I used to love Tab. I used to drink it all the
Right.
time when I was a kid. So, what are you going to do, huh?
Tab. I think at our house it was Tang. Tang was a big
Oh,
one
yeah, no
as a
kidding.
kid, and it's so funny because we weren't allowed to drink pop because we called it pop in Michigan
Oh yeah,
soda.
yeah.
We weren't allowed to drink pop because it's sugary and it's bad for you. But you could have the Kool-Aid, which you had to mix like what, 1 or 2 cups of sugar. I forget what it
Yeah,
was, but it was a fucking
there's a
shitload. You had
lot.
to
Yeah,
mix. You had like this much powder for the color, like
yeah.
all the fucking dyes that are probably also poison.
Right, exactly. That is too funny because that's true, man. It's true.
It's true. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't have it in front of me, but I wouldn't be surprised if that Tang wasn't loaded with a bunch of fucking sugar too.
And when you were talking about like when you're in Michigan, or you're going to get a pop. Well, a pop could be
Yeah.
anything. Like in Georgia, hey, I'm going to the store. I'm going to get a Coke. What do you want? I want a Coca-Cola. I want an orange. I want a grape. I want to.
I read
So
that. That is crazy. Yeah, I saw a map and it showed where parts of the country call it pop, some call it soda. And it said down in Georgia, there was just one little section where it was called Coke.
right.
And then you had to state your flavor. Yeah, I think I'll have a Coke, make it a root beer.
It's a Coca-Cola. If you want a real one, it's a Coca-Cola. What do you want? Well, I want a Coca-Cola.
You have to use the second word.
Yeah, you have to. It's like, are you gonna go? You gonna get some Cokes? Yeah. What do you want? I want an orange. I want a grape. But those are Fantas. We knew
Yeah,
what they
so if I
were.
just said I'll have a Coke, the first response from the other
What
person is
kind?
going to be what kind?
Yeah. What kind do you want? I want
So it
Coca-Cola.
is true. I
It is
never
very
had
true.
anyone verify that.
Since
I
I was
thought
a
it was
kid,
bullshit.
that's absolute truth. And we used to. I lived close enough to the Coca-Cola bottling plant that when we were bored, we just rode our bikes down there, and you take the half-an-hour tour, and they give you those little brass little Coca-Cola bottles with a chain, and they opened up
Yeah,
the coffin refrigerators, and you could drink as many sodas as you want. And we get pregnant
really.
on 8-ounce Coca-Colas. We would just drink
And
them.
is it still the home base? Is it still the corporate headquarters?
Yeah, it still is. Yeah, 330 was a. I mean, when I was a kid, it
Well,
was
so many people moved out of the country.
30030.
It's nice that they stayed.
Well, I guess they got a good deal down there.
And Coca-Cola from Mexico, a different recipe, a
Well,
little
yeah,
sweeter.
no, well, it has sugar. It doesn't have high fructose corn syrup in there. See what they made they went that stupid route like everybody else did and put that in there. And there were years ago that Pepsi and Mountain Dew, I believe they're the same company. They said we're going to have old school Pepsi, old school Mountain Dew. So they used the packaging was that of like the 70s, and they used sugar. So it tasted different, but it was just sugar. Now right now they have original recipe Coke, and I bought a couple of 6 packs of the 8-ounce bottles in the past year, and it's the old fashioned Coke. Like when my daughter was we didn't get to go today. We were gonna go to Pink's Hot Dogs. They have the Mexican Cokes, which are real. They're what you and I
Right.
remember as kids drinking. They weren't the high
So I
fructose
wonder
corn
if that's
syrup.
going to change because I know it wasn't that long ago they announced RFK Jr. and they were addressing some of the things with food dyes and colors and stuff. And one of the things that because when they started talking about the health of food, companies started just coming up and volunteering shit, right?
Right.
So they wanted to be on the good end of the story. And I heard Coke was one of them, and they said that they were going to go back to using sugar in the American made product.
It's
So
more
I don't know if
expensive,
that's
but
happened yet.
no, they do that. They have, you can buy different kinds. Like they used to have Coke and New Coke. They had the new recipe, the old recipe, and that was screwed things up when they did that. But when they said,
Right.
"Look, we're putting it out just like Mexico does with real sugar," I'm like, I'm going to try that, and it was the same thing. So. I I think that's good because we should be able to enjoy those kinds of things, all that high fructose corn syrup. It's killed me. I mean, at the fair, my daughter and I go to the fair to see a concert, the Revolution, this reggae concert. We're going on the 8th of August, and we do the whole route. She's like, "Daddy, no restrictions?" I go, "Whatever kind of food you want to have, babe. That's my day of whatever. We'll just go
Where's
crazy.
the funnel cake?
No more than that with deep fried Oreos and, frog legs and stuff like that,
Oh, well, frog legs, I'm in.
but they're good. But see, the thing that they had,
Oh, do they
famous
deep fry 'em?
Yeah, yeah. And Famous Dave's was the best place to have any kind of barbecue. But then when I went to get there, they have this called Devil's Pit or Spit, I think it was, a really hot barbecue sauce. I looked at the ingredients. I'm like, you motherfuckers, excuse my language, but they have high fructose corn syrup. I'll never have this again.
That sucks.
So I
I
buy
hate that.
Lucille's Barbecue
Right,
House.
right, right,
They have a barbecue sauce, a hot spicy one that's amazing, and there's just regular sugar.
right.
So that's the one I buy and keep in the fridge at all times. That pisses me off that they do that kind of stuff, ruin that food that we enjoyed so much when we were kids. Go online and go a comparison of what I ate when I was a kid and what it's like now, and there'll be like 20 things you'll be going, "That's sons of bitches, man." It pisses me off. I mean, even like
This
Cool Whip.
sucks.
Cool Whip used to be simple. Now it's like plastic. You're eating plastic.
Right.
So.
Oh, it's not even food. Yeah, no, it's not even food.
Okay, I'm going to ask you
So,
one more question before we go. How
yeah.
do dreams provide valuable information that can help you when you're awake? How can dreams provide valuable information that can help you when you're awake?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's just so hard. I mean, I know you remember more because you have, better control of your dreams. I remember so few. So when I have a dream, and sometimes, I don't have to explain this. They're a little wacky, but there's a message there.
Right.
So, like if I have a dream that includes my father, and it's sort of always a little weird, not weird in a weird way, you know what I mean? It's just like, things never make sense. You never really know where you're at and shit like
Right.
that. But when I have that, when I wake up, I'm thinking that, I'm appreciative to been able to, that my father's still such top of mind even in my sleep. But then I also think, okay, is there a message here? Why am I dreaming of my father? And so but you never really know. I mean, they say dreams are just part of your day, and it's part of your brain's filing system. Like everything's up there,
Right.
but it takes certain things to bring it front of mind. It's like, why do we remember? Like, I can remember like two things when I was in kindergarten. That's it. But why do I still remember those? Right? What
Exactly.
makes those, and that's it. And my understanding is your brain, like a computer, is constantly filing those in importance to you. Your brain, it knows you.
Right.
It's your brain.
Well,
So
what I think is important is that I've said this before. There's no such thing as original thought. There isn't. Every thought is predicated on something you thought before or a combination of other things. So what I've always said is that dreams mash ideas together that might give you an idea that you wouldn't have thought about in the real world because it didn't make sense. And all of a sudden you think about some
right,
kind of mashup, you're going, that's not such a bad idea. So
right.
somebody thought caramel and salt. It's like, who? And that doesn't sound like it's good. Then you have it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's freaking
Yeah.
amazing.
Talk about tripping on something so fantastic.
Exactly. Something so simple. It's like, no, don't put salt on it. Oh, put more salt on it, please.
Right,
So
right.
I think that dreams once, because I had to do a course one time in psychology, and we had to journal our dreams and such, and it got to the point where you could almost control some of the things that were happening. And if I did it for years, it'd just be like, I'm going to go to the movies and go to sleep and really have a good time, figure out what you want to dream, and you can dream that because you have that
Right.
ability to do that, to control your dreams. And I've
Yeah.
proved that in a small amounts because I've told myself my dream, I can't get hurt because I'm only dreaming. And I've woken up and come back into the dream in the same location I was when I left it. So there are things that can happen. So I think that it's a good escape, especially in a world that's gotten too real for us. There's too much. I mean, the whole idea of Disney when I went to Universal Studios, and I don't like rides that are like the ones that say high turbulence that can make you sick to your stomach. I used to like those as a kid, but I don't like them anymore. It seemed like every ride, even the simplest rides, were meant to scare the crap out of you. And so they don't want you to enjoy yourself. They want to thrill you because people want to watch scary movies because they want that thrill. I don't like scary movies. I don't like to be scared. I don't like that at all. But some people need that thrill. Well, I think that whole Disney, it's a small world after all idea is almost gone these days, you know? Everybody it's got it shock and awe or I'm not going to enjoy it. So
Right. You better grab my attention and it better be brutal.
hey, well, I'm going to go for a movie recommendation right now. I say watch a Project Hail Mary if you have a chance.
Got it.
Hot movie. In fact, that's the next book I'm going to read. We're almost done with the Harry Potter series. We're on the 7th book now, and we're going to jump into that book next. So good
Now,
stuff.
this isn't a Harry Potter movie.
Ryan Gosling is starring in this movie. He will probably win an Academy Award.
What's the name of it again?
Project Hail Mary.
Project Hail Mary, just like in football, right?
There are microbes that are draining the energy of the sun, and we are all going to die. So what do we do about it?
Really?
We put scientists involved in it to try to take care of that situation. That's all I'm going to tell you, but it's one of the most amazing premises. And when Jim and I watch the movie, that's my reading partner. His daughter is a genius. She plays viola and she's played at Carnegie Hall and she's just a genius, just graduated from high school. And he said, yeah, we just watched that movie. And she said, oh, Dad, you like reading now? Read that book. It is better than the movie by a long shot. So we got the recommendation from a 17-year-old to read the book. So that's the next book. I've got 30% of this Harry Potter book left to read, and then we'll be reading Project Hail Mary. It's going to be good. So.
Nice. Awesome. Well, keep me posted, buddy.
I'll do that. Well, guys, want to thank you for coming to join us today. Had a good time. Tony, it's always a pleasure to see you. If I was going to bury a body, and you would be the person I'd have buried with me because you're about the person that I could trust the most. So
You got my number.
all right, guys, you have yourself a great day and be good humans, all righty? Love everybody. Adios.